ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro for our very last documentary of the month for the year 2016. I'm joined by the infamous partner in crime, the Casanova killer, Catface, the old boy.
Yeah, you had a weird documentary, so you called in the weird expert.
We'll see about that. You know, at this point in time, oh boy, every kind of reviewer out there are doing all these year-end lists, like, oh, these are the best movies of 2016, these are my best whatever, best. Everyone's doing the best. So I had a different documentary in mind for the month. It was actually going to be an Antarctica, one about Antarctica. I actually mentioned I was going to do this before, but I changed my mind. Instead of doing that, I actually went to Google and I thought, you know what, fuck it. Let's just see what everyone's saying is one of the best documentaries of the year. And there was like 5 documentaries that kept on coming up that unanimously, all these websites, all these people were saying these 5 documentaries are the best of the month. So out of the 5, there was this one with a name, you guys can tell by now, called Tickled. And I thought to myself, what the hell is this about Tickled? And the poster has a big feather on it. When I heard it was about a tickling competition, right off the bat, I just thought to myself, this sounds ridiculous. I don't know what the hell this is about. I don't know why people are saying this is the best documentary of the year or whatever. I watched it and yeah, this was fucking weird as hell. So
wait, was it weird or bizarre?
I knew you was gonna do that. You need to stop that, okay? JoJo's coming later, goddammit, alright?
Dude, I can't help it. It's my favorite story arc of JoJo's.
We'll see. But guys, you know, oh boy, I'm gonna let you give this synopsis without spoilers. We're going to spoilers at the end, but guys, this is a kind of a revealing documentary. So I'm gonna let old boy tell you what it's about in general. We're gonna tell you our thoughts on it, and then we're gonna get to some spoiler territory, and then kind of take it from there. So what's this documentary about, old boy? Called Tickled.
So what happens is there's this dude this journalist, in New Zealand who, at the time of the documentary beginning, had recently been outed as homosexual. You know, he has a live-in life partner and everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want anybody to think like have some kind of problem with that for whatever reason. I think that's perfectly fine. Okay, so he happens to come across, I think it was a YouTube video, just by pure luck, about competitive tickling. Okay, I'm gonna let that sink in for a few seconds. I did say competitive tickling.
I have never heard of tickling being a thing. Have you ever heard of there being a tickling competition ever?
No, and I'm also gonna ask you in the audience to take a moment. What's the first image that comes to your mind when you think of competitive tickling? Okay, so for me personally, I think of beautiful women. I mean, that's just me. That's where my mind goes. This is not the opposite, but it's the other gender. They go with, I guess, good-looking guys for whatever, and only men. There is no female division in this competitive tickling world. It's only men.
Yeah. I
don't know why. And so he came across that, and it was just so weird. He's like, I want to do what do journalists do? I want to do like an article, or I want to talk about it. I want to put it out there. It's so weird and interesting. I want to do something about it. So he reached out to the company that was hosting this competitive tickling league, I guess you would call it.
Oh yeah.
And he got back the first, my understanding in the documentary, the first few responses from the correspondent, the legal correspondent, or whatever you want to call them,
yeah,
was kind of backhanded, but insults, and they're right off the bat, there's a heterosexual sport, the integrity would be undermined or something if your sexual preference was to do all this stuff, and they exchanged communications for 3 or 4 weeks or something, and it became more and more of derisive and derogatory personal attacks by that person to him. And eventually it just got to the point where they threatened legal action all of a sudden, and his live-in partner was like, I want to stand up to this bully, and he has to kind of decide really early on in the documentary, does he want to stand beside his man, or is he gonna just let it go? But his life partner is just like, no, fuck this guy. This guy's a bully. I want to stand up to him.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the whole premise of it. They go in, they investigate what the hell's going on, because like it's just such a weird thing. The reaction was so weird. They immediately jumped to, well, not immediately, but they pretty quickly trumped up to threatening legal action. And it was just, everything was so weird. He just, the way he decided to go about it was, okay, the way I'm going to stand by my man. I want to do a documentary about this anyway, so I'm going to document what's going on here.
Yeah.
And that's the documentary.
Yeah. No, that's fine. For a synopsis, you did a great job there, old boy. Let me tell you something, guys. This situation about this tickling competition and this investigation this journalist does, and let me get his name. His name is it David Fetner or David?
I think the main guy, the one who originally reached out to the competitive tickling league, was David Ferrier. And then his live-in partner was Dylan. I didn't catch the last name.
Yeah, and you know, this is a crazy story, and like I said, by the end of it, I understood. First of all, I understood why it became a documentary, and this is one of those stories. It became a documentary because the story escalated. This person, this antagonist, escalated the situation and made it a spectacle. I think, what's it called? The Barbra Streisand effect, where, you know, you heard that phrase, right? The Barbra Streisand effect?
Well, humor the audience in case they're too young.
The Barbra Streisand effect is basically, there was this photographer that was taking pictures of a beach. Now, Barbra Streisand had this property on her beach, and basically she tried to sue this photographer for taking pictures of her property on the beach, saying that, you know, it's not legal, and she's bringing all this unnecessary attention to her by photographing on the beach. Now, ironically, no one really paid attention to the photographer and these pictures until she made a big deal about it. And then I think he took her to court and he kind of won. And basically, because she brought so much attention to it, it kind of backfired. And that's why it's called the Streisand effect. Someone who, you know, unintentionally perpetuates a situation into something bigger than it really should have been. And, you know, this documentary is weird, guys. It's weird, but it's very interesting. And without going into spoilers, it slowly uncovers into something a lot more nefarious and a lot more disturbing. And not disturbing because of the tickling competition, a lot disturbing because it ties, when all said and done and when certain things are revealed, this really ties down to something that I found very disturbing in a very different way. And I don't want to get into spoilers into why, but I just want to say this was a very well done documentary, very interesting. It's I don't want to be too highfalutin and say it's a human story. It's a story about a bully. You know, this is a story about, ironically, even David himself says, you know, this guy is giving me all this push, or this person's giving me all this pushback about being homophobic and all this stuff, but tickling is kind of silly. Why is this company getting so offended with me wanting to investigate? Now, to be fair, the reporter has a reputation for really investigating these weird pop culture things. So on the one hand, I can understand why the company would be like, oh, you know, you're going to make this into some crazy thing and make us look whatever. I understand on the base level, but the way this company attacks this guy, this journalist, is really out of order. And then the things that are revealed throughout the documentary just shows that this is a lot more sinister, you know, than you would lead to believe. And the reason why the documentary's got so much notoriety, so much awards, is just the guy who put the documentary together in particular. I guess he was at risk. And when old boy says that, you know, legal action was involved, that the guy took legal action, the company took legal action very quickly. I mean, it's very quick to take legal action, and that shit gets really fast. But the fact that this guy does not back down and he pushes forward in the investigation, it escalates on both sides. And like I said, there's an interesting reveal at the end, and I find it very interesting, and I understand. Again, I don't really know why it's the best documentary of the year, but I do find it very interesting. It's one of those ones where all I can say is you're probably going to get more than you bargained for. But without going into spoilers, I was entertained, I was interested, and I came away feeling a little bit disturbed, you know, especially with the reveal. I was actually like, fucking hell, some people, boy, I just don't know. So the tickling.
Oh, really? You were surprised? Because I thought that like right off the bat. The first few responses from that company, you know, to David, it was obvious what the reveal is going to be later. Like, I saw it right away. By the end of it, I know you usually like to save the reviews, but by the end of it, I felt like it was a high watchable. I was entertained.
Yeah.
It was the classic, the little guy stands up to the bully, the huge entity with all the resources, all the time. They could push people around, they could drag things out into court and drain all your money and resources. They never even have to really give out an argument or anything like that. And they tried that too, they did. I'm not going to say whether or not they're successful, but for the most part, like, what made it above like a low watchable or even lower was just that the competitive tickling thing. It was just so weird, and the rest of the story involved with investigating, like, why did they get bristly so fast and all that delving, that made it from like low to high watchable for me.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get into spoiler section, but you would recommend it as a high watchable, you said?
I would. I mean, like, if you want to see something different, you don't watch a lot of documentaries, you want to see something that people are talking about, because apparently a lot of people are talking about this, that's who I would recommend it for. I wouldn't be like, well, this is important to know, or this is really educational, you're going to take something away from this. No, it's, stand up to bullies, okay? That's really all there is to it, and you don't need to watch this documentary for that.
Yeah. Well, I would give it a low solid B, actually. I was very entertained. Again, I like documentaries that kind of enlighten me. The tickling competition thing, I never knew that was a thing.
I didn't either. And you know what? I'm going to come out and say, when it's men only, I don't care if they're heterosexual or not, but that's kind of fucking gay. I mean, I don't mean that in any derogatory way. I have gay family members. Yeah. I'm very secure in my sexuality. Like, I don't give a, like, I will fucking swat guys' balls and stuff when we're fucking around. I don't care, okay? Yeah. Like, I'm a cat, so there's also that. I mean, I'm kind of safe in that sense. But that was some kind of gay stuff. Not even kind of. That was pretty gay. If you had, like, a female side too, then probably not really. But because it's, like, very strictly, we are men, we're going to do this, we're going to have men touching men. And then as soon as some guy that's a different sexual preference than us, he wants to do an article, he wants to talk about, so oh no, this is not gay, this is not fucking gay. It's like, come on, can you be any more in the closet?
That was the funniest part of the look. Right at the beginning, he was reading the email, he was like, is this a joke? This is the most gay. He even said, this is really gay. Like, the men sitting on each other, like, one guy sitting down, 5 guys around you, tickling your feet, your armpits, your butt, everything. This is the gayest thing he's ever seen. And you're writing this derogatory email to me, a gay guy, and you don't want it to represent your company? When it, on the face value, it was hilarious. But again, there was a much darker underpinning to this. So, guys, I would recommend it. It's a fun watch. I guess it's a one-off. Like I said, I'm a bit surprised, and I was curious. Curiosity definitely killed the cat with the name and tickling competition. There was more to it than I thought, which I appreciated. And it was a bully story, which I really did like. But, guys, I would just say we're going to get into spoilers. If you don't want to hear this part that's going to spoil the reveal or whatever, then, don't listen. Check it out before you get into it. But now, I want to get into spoilers. So, you got 2 seconds, guys, or 3. 1, 2, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Right, so this whole reveal that, first of all, the guy was chasing one company. I forgot what the company's called. I think Jane Bryant, and then there's a second one too, that came in later on. Yeah. And then it turns out, the big reveal is that it all turns out it's this one American guy in particular, because first you're thinking maybe it's a company of sort. First you think maybe it's a consortium of people. Then you find out that there was another woman in another country that was doing something similar. And then you find out these two things are the same. This is a one American middle-aged guy. And he's been doing it forever. He's been doing it for a long, like the 90s. From the 90s to present. And here's the thing I found interesting about the documentary, man. Is this guy was on a fucking power trip. He was using, he obviously has a fetish. And when shit doesn't go his way, or when people want to back out, or these long-term contracts or whatever, he would basically blackmail people. He was committing all sorts of identity theft by creating these fake identities. And, he was destroying lives. He literally was destroying people's lives for real. Like, this guy was basically like the worst kind of hacker you could think of. Like, a guy that has nothing but time on his hands, has like millions and millions and millions of dollars. Yeah. He has a extremely strong legal team, so that if it goes to court,
he could get himself out, which is something that happens actually during the course of the documentary. They're investigating this guy.
Yeah.
He was found. He was investigated by the FBI because he attacked the White House and he tried framing somebody else.
Yeah.
Some poor college kid, that was strapped for money and did a tickling video or something, and then he didn't want to keep doing it, so the guy fucking threw a hissy fit. And all he did was he got like 2 misdemeanor charges on him. All the fucking felonies and everything vanished off the record, and he got to go to law school to get his degree.
He went to prison, this motherfucker. He actually went to prison.
I thought he went to get a degree.
He at some point, I know he went to prison because they had some. I don't know if it was like a real prison or if it was just a police prison or whatever.
It's probably a fake prison. He only got the 2 misdemeanors on him, remember?
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but either way, the fact he became a lawyer after the fact, and he just created another dummy account, and at the end, I think the documentarian gets one of his family members on and is like, he's doing this again, and the guy's got a serious problem. And another reason why that documentary is that obviously the main guy was so tenacious about getting to the bottom, even though it got to a point where even the guys around were like, you need to stop this man because we could really lose this case and it could really fuck us over, we could get sued or whatever. And he went to America, he went to the place where they were doing the tickling videos. And at the end he literally chased the guy down, right at the end, near the end. And
you tried to talk to him when he bought coffee.
Yeah, to confront him. And, that was the guy, and they had a very short conversation. I thought the guy would even speak to him, but he, they had a couple words, and didn't end well. And then the guy kind of backed off, right at the end, because he kind of exposed him, he had to back off. And then there was another guy that he was using. He was like, this guy's using you as a front, right? This guy's put you down as a company. I wasn't sure if that guy was actually playing, that guy knew, or maybe he didn't know, but long story short.
He claimed ignorance.
Yeah. I think he knew. Look, man, and obviously the thing that really just bothered me, I guess, and maybe it's because I ain't a rich guy, it's like you find out that the guy has a big inheritance, he had a big family. Well, no, sorry, he had a rich family, and he just inherited all this money, and this is what he uses money for. He uses his money that was inherited to set up these tickling competitions, and the funny thing is...
Well, okay, first of all, set up the tickling competitions, that's fine, everything. The problem with all this money this guy has, everything, is if you upset the apple cart, he blows up. He doesn't give a fuck. He will ruin your life. He ruined like many people's lives. I have no idea, like thousands, 10,000 people. I have no idea. But like the people in the documentary, none of them got away without being very damaged because of it in some way.
And the guy's still doing that shit to this day. He's still got the companies running. He's still got the tickling companies running as well. So... I don't know if it started again. I was just like, boy, man, this is just another story that... the only thing I would say is that I was glad that this documentary didn't devolve into this guy was a physical abuser turned to some sex thing. But to be honest with you, he was still destroying lives. He was still doing really bad things. He's still a criminal, and he's still fucked up, man. And I'm glad that this guy stood up to him. I'm glad he made this documentary. And I'm glad, some people just shouldn't get away with the shit they're pulling. So that's why I enjoyed the documentary. It was a reveal.
Well, the thing is, like, in terms of this documentary, like, there was a moral victory, but he still got away with it. I mean, basically, he had no consequences for anything he'd ever done that was covered in this documentary.
And why is it? Oh, boy, why is that? Because he's rich.
Yeah, because he's rich. He's a fucking rich white guy.
Yeah, and that's I know I might like this documentary for the wrong reasons, but I think that's why everyone's like, you know what? I guess you could say sometimes you win the battle but not the war, but at least the guy's exposed. At least that this information is out there. People know what this guy's up to in the bigger scheme of things, and there's awareness about this. And it's really sad because at the end of the day, and I'm glad I didn't forget to say this, they interviewed one guy who's actually doing a similar tickling thing, more for a fetish, but this guy there's this one guy they interview, he explains what it's about and how he got into it and how he does it for business. And they really, and I guess this is what the guy wanted to find out from the beginning. He wanted to know, why do people find tickling entertaining? This guy doesn't do a tickling competition, but this guy's into it as a fetish. And the way that guy was open to it and open to discuss about it, and even I think was his partner or one of his cameramen actually got involved and had a little taste of it. It was funny. It was like, wow, this is just earnest. I mean, that was the innocent side to it. Man, you know what? To each his own. This guy that's tickling, that's his thing. He's making money off it. But this is a guy that's being open and honest about it. And he's, this is my, this is what I like. I make money off it. You can come to my website. That's cool. Tickling competition. The guys that are being hired to do the tickling or whatever, they don't know what the fuck is. I mean, they're doing it for money. A lot of them don't even know. You know, some of them are. I just found out about it. I just did it.
Well, it's not even that. Like a lot of times they're lied to about it on every level, really, because even the consequences, the what do you call it, the terms of disclosure, all that stuff. The bully guy, he would break it. Like he didn't give a fuck. He would just fucking turn around, use them, and then try to force it so that they had no other option but to play ball with them.
But the guy doesn't. And I'm going to wrap this up. The guy doesn't really make money off this shit, does he? I don't understand how he actually makes money off it.
That's something that puzzled me the entire time because, like, the way they explain in the documentary, like, if you played ball with them, you would get so much. Like, you'd be getting sent like cash, not even checks, like thousands of dollars in cash, just gifts, all that stuff. You'd have a good life for somebody that wasn't like, I don't know, like middle class or upper middle class. You know, if you were like lower middle class or lower, it was a good life. It was a good income.
Boy, well, you know what they say, everything comes at a price. So, you know, I feel, you know, I'm glad this is revealed, especially if anyone's thinking of getting into this shit for money. This might not be a good idea. You know, it looks fun,
well,
it looks silly.
You could get in with that one guy, you know, the fetish guy.
Yeah.
That'd probably be okay.
But this kind of led me to believe, I'm sure there's so much things like this in life, so many pyramid schemes, things that seem innocent, but there's an underbelly. There's people under it that are nefarious, that are profiting under it, either for their own pleasures or they're making... I know this... I don't want to tie this into all this other conspiracy shit, but I'm just saying that I came away thinking from this, there must be so much shit in life that, you know, so much rich people doing shit like this that no one really finds out about. You know, this is a guy that... This journalist came across it and he got tangled up in it because this fucking idiot, you know, attacked him, and now it's to his own loss. But how much more shit like this going on in the world that we don't know about, man? It's really weird, you know. Something so innocent or something so seemingly stupid looking as Tickling turns into this one fucking creep, you know, ruining people's lives. That was really what got me about this documentary, and I think that's why people are so enthralled by this documentary. But again, being critical and looking at it from take a step back, looking at it, it's a weird documentary. To hell was the best, but it's interesting.
This year,
yeah,
no, 13th was definitely better.
That's a serious topic, man. And here's the thing, another reason.
I know this was a serious topic too, dude. I mean, I know the tickling competition, everything's silly, but the core heart of the documentary is about one bully with tons of money and time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I wanted us, because we've been so serious in the last couple of months of the documentaries. I mean, the whole year, most documentaries are kind of serious, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I was surprised to find out, this was meant to be a tickling competition. This shit turned into something very nefarious. I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? That was a kind of a funny turn of events for me watching this shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I saw basically from the first few email correspondence, I knew where this was going.
Old boy would not be fooled. Cats start getting tickled. You wouldn't fall for this, huh?
Well, first of all, we're not ticklish. We just either purr or bite you. So there's that. But I mean, we're curious, so we investigate a lot of stuff. I mean, I found a lot of weird stuff around your apartment before.
Yeah. Well, that's why I never really got into tickling you too much, because, you don't buy the hand that feeds you, but some people got tons of money and they can just spend it on lots of garbage. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Guys, if you've seen this documentary, because everyone seems to have, so everyone's praised it, it's in the definite top 5 for most people, let me know what you think. Or if you've gotten this far through this spoiler discussion and thinking, nah, I'll pass on this. This sounds really crazy. I don't know what to say. I don't blame you, but leave your comments down below. Thank you, old boy, for joining me on this one. Last documentary of 2016.
Yeah, sorry that I was I was having trouble with the hairball the entire time.
That's fine. And guys, I don't know how much documentaries I'll be doing 2017. I want to continue doing monthly documentaries, but you already know I told you guys before I'm going to be very busy doing the Woody Allen stuff and all this other stuff. And most of the documentaries I will do, I'll probably do solo, but I know Mampus was meant to do one with me and all that stuff. We'll see how it goes. But guys, I want to thank you for joining me on every single documentary of the month. If you didn't, there's a playlist I'll put on the top YouTube card. You can go back and see all the other documentaries. And still, I'm not going to stop you guys from recommending any very interesting ones, because you know what, Planet Tyro, we're media lovers. We want to see what people are doing with documentaries, movies, TV shows, whatever. And guys, if you listen to this and it's the end of the year, I hope you have a happy new year. Christmas has already gone past by the time this went up anyway. So, old boy, thank you for joining me on every review you were on. We're going to do JoJo, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. How are you coming along on Freak Squeal?
Let's talk about that off mic. But, guys, hit the subscribe button. Hit the playlist that YouTube is recommending to you on the screen you see right now. And we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you. You'll probably be seeing me a lot, too, because I'll probably be doing a lot more recordings with Dawn taking a back seat next year.
That's good to hear. See you in 2017.
Peace out.